Hello, winners, and welcome once again to the Wrong Button Podcast, the show where we talk all things nerd, most things video games. And today we're delving into anime, probably for the first time outside of just basic animations.
hmm
I'm joined once again by the fantastic Quiggles.
Hello there. Good to be back.
I'm glad to have you back because, boy, do we have the start of a saga.
Yep, you're finally taking the sacrificial binge.
I am, and I'm greatly enjoying it. Uh,
Good.
far more than like uh the teenage shonen jump like do you remember when shonen was at like book fairs and it was like the thick
Yeah,
okay
the little
so
omnibus
yeah
mangas. Yeah,
so I picked up a shonen because it had Yu-Gi-Oh on the front and I had gotten really big into Yu-Gi-Oh
it's pretty
and it
good.
was one of the episodes like it was one of the ones where it was really dark where it
hmm
shows that like Yu-Gi-Oh that we got was not at all
Oh,
the Yu-Gi-Oh that
you
Japan
got
got.
you got the season 0 manga, didn't
Yes,
you?
I did.
Oh, the one where people actually die.
Yes. But we're not here to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh.
hmm
Uh, we're here to talk about One Piece.
Yep,
So,
one of my
uh,
favorites.
and you
So,
have talked
mhm.
about it for a while.
I have. For full disclosure, I am caught up, and I am a week to week manga reader as of right now for One Piece. And you are going into this like mostly blind. I think you said.
I'm the one part that I can remember is actually with Bugsy. It was one of the first fights with Bugsy where he
hmm
revealed his chop powers.
Yeah, that's a really good fight for to like start One Piece with. I think.
I was probably 12 years old when I
hmm
originally looked at that. But his appearance like with the nose
hmm
really threw me and I think then I decided like I don't want to watch or read a manga, watch an
hmm
anime where they fight clowns.
Oh, don't worry. It's only him as a clown and one other guy you'll get to in like 6 months.
I mean, I don't know. I'm so everyone. I started watching this probably at the beginning of May.
hmm
Uh, I started watching on your request because I know you're right now into the Chainsaw Man manga, um,
Yes.
and I know I need to read that.
You
Uh,
really do. It's so good.
and I'm gonna make a thing where you need to go on Webtoons and read Down to Earth, so I can have
Ooh.
someone to gush about this really like sappy slice of life romance that I've been reading. And like I read one thing of it, and I was hooked. I blitzed through all of
Oh,
it. But that's
sounds
besides the
tempting.
point.
Yes.
That's besides the point. So we're gonna talk about One Piece.
hmm
Um, when did you start with One Piece?
So, my beginnings with One Piece is actually back in the dark era of Four Kids. Back in like the mid 2000s when they were the ones who did the English dub, and back then my only exposure to anime was just through uh, like the Fox Box Saturday morning block and Toonami and whatnot. And uh, basically, one day I turn on the TV, and my first exposure to it was actually the Baratier arc that you just recently finished in the anime. And I thought, wow, this looks like kind of goofy, but kind of my speed because I do kind of like pirates just in general. And I've just kind of been hooked ever since on this magical drug of a journey that Ichiro Oda has just kind of grabbed me by the throat and just kind of just let me on for so long. I've just been compelled. And then I sort of got really back into it kind of mid to late college when I basically started the anime back up, this time like in Japanese through like Crunchyroll. And I started on a saga that we'll get to like multiple episodes of this later called the Water 7 saga. And that just kind of gripped me back in. If I wasn't already hooked like beforehand, I was definitely on board, head over heels in love with all of these characters. So that's sort of how it's been. And then basically ever since then, I have just kind of caught up. And right now, I am just eagerly awaiting chapter 1050, which one dates this episode, and two shows you just how long of a ride this is, and it just is still good. I would say arguably better now than it was then.
I I would say so far from the beginning. So, like I said, guys, my
Mm-hmm.
I actually was I saw it in Shonen, and I kind of bounced off. And after that, like I was like, I don't want to watch stretchy powers. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I was very much like not as much into my shonens because I think Naruto filler arcs burned me.
Yeah. I
But
can feel that.
go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just
But
saying I agree with
oh,
you. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then also the other big thing was like I had friends who really liked niche things and were like, "How have you never
Mm-hmm.
seen this?" So for me, it was Outlaw Star. It
Mm-hmm.
was Trigun, which I talk about ad nauseum as like one of my
Yeah.
all time favorite animes. And by the
That's
way,
like a
because go
bucket
ahead.
list anime for me. Trigun.
And here's the thing: I would say only watch the dub. Never, ever watch the sub. And
Really?
it's not because the sub is bad.
Mm-hmm.
It is because Johnny Young Bosch is Vash the Stampede, and as Mrs. Play will shout downstairs, I have the biggest man crush on that guy.
Oh.
Um,
For me, it's Matt Mercer for what it's worth.
uh, Matt, you didn't grow up with like season like 3 Power Rangers though.
I did not.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's like
so that explains a lot with you.
yeah, he was the Black Ranger after Zack. But
Mm-hmm.
so Trigun, by the way, on Crunchyroll. And while this is not sponsored by Crunchyroll, guys, I will recommend Crunchyroll just fused with Funimation. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
those are now crossing over, and you can get all of your shows on Crunchyroll. And that is where I am currently watching. I am actually currently watching One Piece. So
Alrighty. And you're doing the sub, not the dub, right?
I can't figure out how to switch from sub to dub. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're doing the sub because that's
All
what it
right.
defaults to.
Okay. Fair enough. I think it's just sort of like, because I know in some like user interfaces, it's just like all listed where it's just every episode in Japanese, then every episode in English, which I don't really like. And then I know for some other user interfaces, it's just like it sorts it by dub, which I like a lot better, obviously. But
When I was using
yeah.
Verve would do season 1 sub, season
Mm-hmm.
1 dub, and it would like paste them back to back. And that was like a
Mm-hmm.
really easy way to do it because you could until you like click on the Deutsch dub and you're like, I'm so confused. Um,
Yeah.
but One Piece.
One
Um,
Piece.
I got questions for you.
And I have questions for you
Okay,
in
my
a
first
ironic
question.
twist of fate.
My first question: where the fuck is my really cheesy 4 kids rap?
You see, that that would just be in just the original Four Kids dub. You gotta look it up on YouTube nowadays because I don't know where you can actually officially watch like the Four Kids dub. Even though if you're seriously looking to get into One Piece, I don't recommend it because they butcher a lot of stuff. But
But
the
Zoro is just like a samurai, and Nami's not shy.
and Usopp's doing that marksman's thing. Sanji's cooking, Chopper's doctrine. Yeah. But, and also a fun fact about that rap, the original singer or the original rapper for that song, like 6 months ago, made an updated version of it that like has like visuals of like what if the Four Kids dub just went all the way up to the present day and included all the crew members and characters that we have now. And it's actually pretty entertaining. I'm not going to show it to you until you're at a certain point because it does spoil a few things, but it's just kind of really awesome. And also that rapper in this version actually says Zoro and not Zolo.
He says Zolo.
Yeah, in original Four Kids, Roronoa Zoro was named Roronoa Zolo to avoid copyright, but in the Funimation dub, they actually say Zoro. And this is actually also a thing in the manga where he's still called Zolo.
That's that's really cool.
Yeah.
I I know people hate that, but it was
Mm-hmm.
one of those things where I turned it on and it was it was so how do I think
2000s.
it 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 incredibly
Mm-hmm. Like
it
people
really
nowadays
was.
will call it cringe, but I feel like it's one of those things where you kind of had to be there in order to be like, no, this is actually unironically awesome.
I think it's a lot like Power Rangers, where some of the Power Rangers like theme songs, like
Mm-hmm.
if you were to put them on in the gym, you'd be like, all right, this I feel pumped listening to this, like Turbo and Zeo. I will fight anyone who says that those are not the two best Power Ranger openings.
I believe
Um,
you.
and my next question is, or my next statement is, do you know how many pineapples I've eaten in my life?
How many pineapples have you eaten?
A metric shit ton. You know what I can't do? I can't throw my arms. I can't control fire. I can't create tsunamis. I can't do shit. So that
Mm-hmm.
you eat pineapples in this universe and get powers.
Uh, Pineapples, melons, apples, berries, all kinds of stuff. Bananas. There's a there's a different devil fruit for all of them, but for what it's worth, our pineapples canonically taste better than a devil fruit. So yeah, take the good with the bad here.
So that's my okay. Well, we're gonna start there. So for those of
Hmm.
you guys who don't know, One Piece is a pirate anime. Figure we should sum that up.
Yep.
Uh, with a straw hat wearing boy named Monkey D. Luffy,
Hmm.
who is going to set out to be the best pirate ever,
Yep.
find a mythical treasure known as the One Piece,
Yep.
which the sub does a lot better of a version than the dub did. Because Gold Roger literally goes, "Hey, this treasure is everything this world has to offer."
Hmm.
Which, holy shit, that's a lot.
Yep. It is a
Um,
lot.
and he's going to be the best pirate ever because it's the grand age of pirates.
Yep. The Great Pirate Era.
And you meet him and he eats a fruit. It's known as a devil fruit.
Hmm.
For those of you who don't know, the devil fruit in our universe canonically is the pineapple because it is a spiky thing that if you ever bit into, it would be like only a devil could think of this and create this.
Yep.
Um,
Or durian, probably.
Durian?
Yeah.
Oh, is that? Is that the?
That's like the
Is that the?
spiky coconut thing.
Yeah, that's that Thai based fruit. I think it is.
Hmm.
It's in like Thailand.
Yeah.
Um,
That smells very bad.
oh my god, they sell those at like our local uh, Asian market, and it
Hmm.
we keep looking at it, but yeah, I don't want to know how you cook that. It could be, but you're right. It could be the durian.
Yep.
Um,
Either
but
one.
he gets powers,
Hmm. But
and his
when
powers
you
are gum gum.
yes, so his entire body turns into rubber essentially, and it's pretty much thought to be kind of a useless ability. Like, why would you ever want an ability that just turns you into rubber? But Luffy manages to make it work, and you're seeing right now that he's able to just stretch his limbs to whatever size he can imagine and just do all sorts of cartoony rubber hose antics. Pardon the pun.
Um, but it's
Hmm.
one of the things because this is a shonen,
Yes.
and so I guess that's where we're going to jump into the shonen part of it,
Hmm.
because the most of us have been exposed to shonen. For me, I have seen all of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z. I
Yep.
have seen the parts of Naruto that matter. I have binge watched Hunter x Hunter several times,
Hmm.
and I have also watched and I need to catch up with reading all of Black Clover.
Hmm. I actually just started Black Clover, so
I hope you enjoy that.
I am enjoying it so far. Anyway,
Thi-
So One
This
Piece.
anime for a shonen
Mm-hmm.
for One Piece has to be like next to, and I'm going to compare it to Hunter x Hunter because right now
Mm-hmm.
Hunter x Hunter by far is the pinnacle of shonen for me.
Okay.
Is so close to taking that
Oh,
that
this early.
it's this early. And I'm gonna ask you some questions that are gonna kind of gauge where it, if it will or if it'll fall.
Okay.
Um, because even though like the rubber power, and I've seen one other power which is Chop Chop,
Yes.
where his ability he eats a Chop fruit, and he's able to break his body
Mm-hmm.
into, and so he can like literally throw his hands with knives at you,
Mm-hmm.
and control it as if they were still attached to him.
Damn, Buggy got hands.
Buggy got hands. All of the powers though have one, all two of them have been unique,
Mm-hmm.
and they've had features or physics that make sense.
Yes.
Um, for instance, like Luffy is made of rubber. Uh, you shoot him with a cannonball, he can bounce it back.
Mm-hmm.
However, he fights Buggy. Buggy does a Wolverine thing, um, and he like slashes at him. He goes, "I take it that you can't withstand blades." And
Mm-hmm.
Luffy goes, "Nope, nope, I can't."
You cannot.
And so it feels so amazing that it's like Hunter x Hunter. If you're an enhancer, uh someone else's power who's able to like conjure things might be able to like spin a trap to have you burn through your energy faster. Whereas when
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching this, you know, Buggy and Luffy are fighting each other, and one's like throwing hands quite literally, and
Mm-hmm.
Luffy's throwing his hands too, but it's different enough that I'm like, okay, it's not going to be Beam Clash number 4001.
Right.
It's going to be a fight.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be an actual fight where you actually have to do a little bit of strategy. It's not, yeah, like it's not like a beam struggle or whose like jutsu is stronger or something or what have you, or just like getting that one decisive shot. Basically, it's kind of just you need to have it's some parts strength of will, some parts just kind of again like kind of cartoony golden age era like antics a little bit, and sometimes it's just like sometimes it literally is just getting the decisive blow, but having to create a way to get that decisive blow, basically, if that makes
And
sense.
it makes complete sense.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter x Hunter was the same way. It's not quite JoJo's Bizarre Adventure where it becomes, hey, what is your power? Um,
Mm-hmm.
because that was always the big turning point in a fight in JoJo. Joe is like, okay, what is your power? Now that I know what your power is, I can figure something out.
Right.
This is like, nope, I can break up my body parts,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't know what that means.
Mm-hmm. And I will
However,
say,
they do.
like JoJo, as somebody who's partway through Ventorero right now, it does also kind of it does actually kind of remind me of One Piece's battles in a similar kind of way, where it is sort of like figuring out a power and figuring out how you can just figure out different weak spots. So that's just like my 2 cents there.
And that's been truly interesting so far to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And probably one of the things that I'm very excited for is, like currently, just to give you guys a little bit of a heads up on where I am. I have just gotten to uh, the Arlong Park arc,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm about halfway through it now. Um, these arcs are quick,
Mm-hmm. They start off pretty quick.
um, which so you've probably watched a fair amount of shonen. Like how, like the typical shonen arc always feels like it's 12 to 14 episodes. Am I incorrect in saying that?
Uh, Depends on the arc. I would say yeah, that's probably accurate, especially nowadays with the more with more shonen being like seasonal stuff like Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer, where you only have like probably like 25 episodes per season, so you have to like fit like that arc or multiple arcs into that season, so that way you don't like end the season and you're in the middle of an arc and it's like, well, how is Midoriya gonna beat the League of Villains in the next episode? I guess I'll have to wait till next season and next year, basically. So, and One Piece obviously is like a year-round thing where it constantly gets new episodes. So,
Does that man ever take a break?
buddy, his break is like a 2 hour block in his day where he like goes on a elliptical machine, eats, poops, and then gets right back to drawing the manga.
I
He is
I'm
dedicated, Oda. He is the maddest of mad lads, I will say. I have never seen a mangaka so dedicated in telling his story that he literally just spends his entire day like just drawing One Piece. He does like
and
take more breaks nowadays though, so
I
but
and I
he's
mean
never
I'm sitting here
mm,
going like, oh, Hunter x Hunter's on hiatus again.
yep. Sniff.
All right, yeah. Um, let me. Sorry, I changed up my my setup so I can actually like check things a little bit
Mm-hmm.
easier. All right, so
But
you said you had a
it's
question for me.
oh, I actually have a couple of questions for you concerning One Piece.
Let's go
So,
ahead.
all right. So first off, between our, I'm just gonna say six Straw Hats so far: Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, Sanji, and the Going Merry, which is their ship. And I'm counting it just because some people count it, some people don't. Which one is your favorite thus
Ooh,
far?
thus far, Nami.
Nami? Okay. Do you have
Uh,
like any specific reasons, or is it just like you're in the midst of Arlong Park and you just got hit with that scene?
I am getting hit with those scenes right now. I'm going to tell you, I am paused on episode 35, where they're
Mhm.
telling the past of her mentor.
Yep.
Um, but for me, actually, what it is first episode, Nami shows up and she's like stealing from
Hmm.
uh, the Marine base, I think it is,
Right.
where Zoro was like captured, and right from the get go, or no, I'm
Hmm.
sorry, it's the first pirate ship, the joke pirate with the big lady, right before
Alita.
we get to like, yeah, right before we get to Zoro's like where he gets
Hmm.
introduced, and she has no speaking lines,
Hmm.
but at no point was I like I think I saw it and I'm like, okay, how are you gonna get, oh no, you're not, oh no, you,
Hmm.
okay, you got what you, okay, you're gone, and like that was it. And I
She
was
don't
like,
need you.
what who are you? I can't wait to learn more about you. And then, robbing a marine base, like,
Hmm.
and just pulls out a bow staff and beats the ever living crap out of people,
Yep.
steals everything, and then leaves. And then of course is like looking for a map to the Grand Line.
Hmm.
uh
And you're
I
just
will
like, I
say,
want to know more about you. Please tell me more about you. And now you're at the arc where we learn more about her.
yeah, I was like, okay, this is going to be an investment before I learn anything about Nami. uh
Hmm.
and the Going Mary's cool. Usopp's story, I like how Usopp is tied to Luffy more.
Hmm. With
um
Yasop,
and
his dad.
yes,
Hmm.
and I like I was telling like, I have a son your age, I don't care about your kid. Like, wow, Luffy. uh but I have to say, for like shonen protagonists, um Luffy has to be like the most self-aware, uh
Hmm.
like next, because Gon's kind of the same way, but Gon is just pure naivete,
Hmm.
whereas Luffy is just like, no, this is who I am, this is what I care about.
Yeah.
I don't care about your past, I care about where you want to go and who you are as a person.
Hmm. He cares about his friends a lot. And it's one of those cases where, like, nowadays, whenever you give me a shonen protag where they just care about their friends a lot, I kind of just groan a little bit. It's not a bad trait, but it's one that I'm kind of sick of seeing it to such an extent where the anime feels like it needs to point it out. But like with Luffy, I can genuinely believe that he cares about people. Like he wants to just give them a big old hug and be friends with everyone and make everyone get along and just have some stupid laughs and eat a bunch of good food with. And I just love that in Luffy. That's why he's probably maybe my favorite anime protagonist. Joseph Joestar might be challenging him for that role, but that's another discussion.
Oh, we could go into like favorite anime pro tags and like what characteristics make them.
Yeah,
Um, and I
but
honestly, I
mhm.
almost feel bad for saying like Luffy is a favorite because I feel like he's where you want to end up.
Mhm. he's like
Um,
he's kind of just life goals, being able to just sail out, travel the world, seek freedom, and just be with his friends, his nakama, as we in the One Piece community say. Um, just yeah, it's something you're supposed to strive for, and he's striving to be something like even greater than himself, basically.
and I think the part of that like he is mentally and emotionally he is literally One Punch Man.
Mm-hmm.
Not powers wise, but like he is so sure of himself that like when he looks at Zoro and goes, "Hey, what's your goal?" and Zoro goes, "I want to be the greatest swordsman ever," and he goes, "You know what? I'm going to be the king of the pirates. I need the greatest swordsman ever on my crew." And it's just one of those
Yep.
things where I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, yeah, you do."
Yeah, he kind of needs that. He needs at least 10 guys, and one of them's got to be someone who can kick ass. And spoilers, I guess, but Zoro kicks a lot of ass.
I yeah, I saw his fight with a Hawk.
Oh, Dracul
Um,
Meathawk.
and is he supposed to just be like a Dracula ripoff at a point?
Kind of, yeah.
I know he goes to train with him later,
Mhm.
because I've seen the clip on YouTube where he's like trying to find like when I see that fight and he shatters two of his swords,
Yep.
but you learn about how the three sword style was created, and
hmm
like Kid Zoro walking in with like, I'm gonna challenge your dojo. I'm gonna hold 12 swords.
Oh man, Zoro's a delight, both as a kid and as an adult.
Um, yeah, that's the other thing. How so you're watching One Piece? I'm sorry,
Mhm.
you're watching Black Clover.
I am.
How
I'm
many
only.
episodes into it are you?
I think it's like 5 or 6,
Okay,
so it's not that
so
much.
he
Like
hasn't even
I.
gotten his grimoire yet, has he?
Oh, Asta.
Yeah.
He has a grimoire. He has like the anti magic thing.
Yes.
So he has that, and he just got into like his guild, the Black Bulls or something.
Okay.
That's the latest thing that happened for me.
Okay. Enjoy the Village Hidden in the Mist 2.0.
Oh,
Um, you're gonna message me and be like, oh yeah, you're right. Uh, hmm. So I'm trying to think of like another show. So I guess we're gonna go DBZ.
yep.
Um, I could care less about any of the characters in DBZ
Wow.
because they have no point to care about them. I have now seen Zoro's where he came from, Sanji,
Mm-hmm.
Usopp,
Yep.
and I'm working through Nami's, and hell, even Luffy's, as simple as his one, as just being like, "Hey,
Mm-hmm.
my older brother's really cool. My older brother's want to start a fight in his favorite bar because that means his his favorite bar would be trash, and the people he care about they'd suffer because of that."
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm gonna all right, my kid brother was just taken. I'm gonna go lose my arm for him, and then I'm still gonna go out and be like, "No, I'm gonna be one of the greatest pirates ever. It's
Yep.
okay. When you're a good pirate, you can come out and challenge me, and I'll still be better than you with one." Like
Yep.
every character, I'm like, "Oh dear God!" Like, and it wasn't even like I wouldn't even say like all of them had these tragic moments. Like that was tragic for
Mm-hmm.
Luffy,
It was.
But at the same time, I'm like, no, you had a good positive role model upbringing,
Mm-hmm.
and you had one bad incident, and it didn't even dampen or sour his spirits. It was kind of like the opposite of oh god, Ren or Goku's Ren Goku from Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer.
Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, his father's so soured,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like overly positive and just strong willed in that nature.
Yep.
Whereas I feel like Luffy was like, no, my older brother had this, and he was still himself afterwards.
Mm-hmm. It is definitely like one of those cases, and you're gonna see a lot more of stuff like that with Luffy. Just gonna say that right now.
Do you have a favorite character of, let's say, the starting six?
Yes, actually, my favorite is Sanji, and he's my favorite in the entire series, even right now. People can fight me on that because I know there are Sanji haters out there. I don't care. Sanji is just my favorite, and part of that is nostalgia because, like I said, Baratier was my first ever arc as a kid
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to One Piece. So therefore, one of the first characters I ever saw was Sanji. And I just thought, like, oh man, this dude's fighting style is different, like different enough so that I can like pick it out of the crowd where if a fight scene was going on but it was only silhouetted, I could be like, yes, that's Sanji right there. That's my boy. And not to get into too much of it, but there is some drama with him and it's just really good. And I love his backstory that we've seen already with Zeph, which by the way, difference in from the anime and the manga, that's way more brutal. In Sanji's flashback in East Blue, when he gets like thrown off the ship as a child with Zeph, and they end up on the island. In the anime, Zeph loses his leg rescuing Sanji from drowning. In the manga, Zeph basically rescues Sanji from drowning without losing his leg, but when they're on the island to basically just try to wave to a ship that'll like rescue them, he gives Sanji like his bag of food and then he has like his bag of money and then he takes a sharp rock, slices his leg off with that and then eats it so he can live.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Ichiro Oda does not have any chill, and you will see that later. The manga had to turn down a lot of stuff in order for it to work as an anime.
Yeah, because like when you have the flashback, so we'll go, and this will, I think, will be a great point since it's one of your favorite. It's your first arc, and I just completed it, so it's super fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like a lot of other anime, I know many big fans out there of this are going to know this, but
Mm-hmm.
they introduce the characters. So of course, I'm going to say, I know you said like the first like season, the first like full like start to finish arc. If we were going to say, hey, here's your core cast, you were like,
Mm-hmm.
it's about 40 something episodes.
Yes.
um and then they're like mini arcs.
Mm-hmm.
uh but Sanji's arc with the East Blue and then everything else, I like, because the anime, um Sanji, guys, or how it kind of works is Luffy, he's like, I'm gonna be a pirate. He ends up crashing
Mm-hmm.
aboard a ship after being in a barrel, and he's now going through and picking up his crew. So we first meet
Yep.
Zoro, we find his backstory,
Mm-hmm.
which, dear God, that was also a gut wrencher.
Yep.
Um, we find Usopp, his back, or Nami's like sprinkled throughout this. We
Mm-hmm.
find Usopp, his backstory. Nami's still there. We
Yep.
go to a floating restaurant where we find Sanji, and we get his backstory.
Yep.
And this is him going, okay, I need a first mate, I need a marksman, and I need a cook because two guys washed up on the ship and they had one of them had scurvy,
Yes.
and he's like, oh, we need a cook because I don't want to get scurvy.
Yep.
Um, and so you get these little arcs. Sanji was probably one. Where's everyone's parents? No one has parents except for Usopp, and then we actually see his dad leaves.
Mm-hmm.
No one else's parents. Uh,
Well, I mean, Nami had a parent.
no one else has a biological parent.
Don't make
Zoro's just
jokes.
walking to a Zoro's just walking to a town. He's just like, I'm gonna walk to this town, challenge a dojo.
Hmm.
Um uh Usopp's dad left, and I'm like, okay, he went for a pack of smokes, got it, that happens. Uh Sanji is on a boat working
Mm.
and and then gets like kind of raised by Zeph, this master
Hmm.
chef.
Yes.
Um and it actually starts because Zeph is trying to take over the boat that Sanji was working on originally,
Hmm.
and we get to see kind of that entire shift as he's a child and then becomes uh, an adult. Which, by the way, that growth was spectacular. How did you feel? Because Sanji starts off with like scraping food into a trash can, like you would,
Hmm.
um, but then all the chefs on the boat that he's working on before it gets attacked are like, "Hey, you want to come eat some of this leftovers with us?" Like these rich people don't understand. Like you're on a ship, you can't waste food like this.
Right. I thought
And
that
he's
was really good, and that is honestly a really good trait of Sanji's that I'm glad like sticks with him throughout, where he does not waste food ever. It's one of my
um,
favorite Sanjiisms.
and then like when the marine officer, the pretty boy one,
Hmm.
uh, shows up on his ship and is like pays them for like certain wines and everything else so he can seem really smart.
Hmm.
And Sanji's like, "No, you're an idiot and you're wrong. And by the way, I'm not the maitre d'. I'm the sous chef." I was just like, "Oh, you are a chef because that's what would actually happen if like
Yep.
you did that to an actually good chef."
Hmm.
Um, but what else? What else brings you to Sanji that you're like, "Hey, I like him."
Like I said before, his fighting style, where he only uses his legs to attack because his arms are meant for cooking, I think that's very unique, and that just strikes a really good chord that just kind of differentiates him from everyone else. Um, because he could have very easily just been like a hand-to-hand melee combat, just kind of typical brawler, kind of Rock Lee in a sense, but they kind of decide not to do that. And as a result, he has a bit more of a flow and like kind of like a fighting game character who has like a lot of combos. That's sort of what Sanji's style is, kind of more or less. And for me that just kind of bodes better than like as much as I love characters like Usopp, Zoro, and Luffy, it just kind of boils down to ranger, swordsman, punch boy, basically. But
Whereas like
they,
Sanji, you get capoeira mixed with some
mhm.
taekwondo.
Yeah, basically. Uh, and admittedly, and I know people are going to crucify me for this for mentioning it, I actually do like the fact that he is a bit of a ladies' man, at least right now. I know later on it like grates on everybody, including me, but for right now, it's actually a really good character trait that gives him some much needed personality, I will say. And it's not annoying or anything. It's just he's very gentlemanly, wants to be someone's knight in shining armor, to just rescue them from mundane life. And yeah, he just is a genuinely nice guy, and I would fall for him, honestly.
So let's go into that because that is a shonen character. Um,
Yep.
there's always a ladies' man. However, like
Hmm.
let's go. Hell, I'm thinking let's go like Naruto, where you
Hmm.
have the pervy sage.
Hmm.
Jiraiya
Jiraiya.
is just a just
Hmm.
like it's obnoxious.
Where he just kind of wants to get with ladies and that's it. I haven't seen Naruto in like a while, or anything that has to involve Jiraiya basically in a while. But
Right.
I do understand that like that aspect of him gets kind of old. I was never really bothered by it. I'm not that bothered by pervy characters as much as other people are, even though I can understand why people don't like that. But yeah, I feel like the saving grace for Jiraiya is just that he kind of has a bit of a mentor arc, and that's sort of what saves him. So we can always look fondly on Jiraiya when he's being a mentor, but not when he's skirt chasing, basically.
And I would say when you like, because I would say Sanji kind of hits the same point as Vash the Stampede, because
Mm-hmm.
that's Vash the Stampede has a very flirtatious side,
Mm-hmm.
but then when things like kind of start to go the way of like, oh shit, he's actually something happens that stops it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not like the Sakura comes in or like Tsunade comes in and like stops it's like
Right.
there's a very deliberate reason it
Mm-hmm.
stops.
Like there's
And with
restraint.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
and like Sanji's like, no, he's like, I want to cook a delicious meal for Nami. Like he's
Mm-hmm.
like pouring wine for her and is like, let me show you. And it feels very like I'm wooing you
Mm-hmm.
instead of like I'm just a pervert. Uh, and like I just got to the
Please
episode
fuck
of
me.
yeah, I just got to the episode where uh like like we're going through Nami's arc and Nami's
Mm-hmm.
painted as a betrayer, and Zoro's like flat chested and he goes, "What is wrong with her chest?" And he's like, "I will fight you for that. There's nothing wrong." And I'm like, "Oh, hooray, body positivity here for you, Sanji. Like, I'm glad we're going here. Let's do this. Throw hands over that, or your feet, or shoes. I don't know."
Yeah.
Um. Uh. So I have only seen now. I've seen two powers. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen Chop Chop. I've seen Gum Gum, but I'm
Yep.
also learning about fish people.
Oh yeah, they're also a thing.
Uh, to go back to the devil fruit,
Yes.
you eat the
So
devil. Go ahead.
yes, you I imagine you were about to say that like you eat the devil fruit, you get your power, but you lose the ability to swim, right?
Yes, but it seems to be more than that
Mm-hmm.
because they fall in the water and
Mm-hmm.
they stop moving.
Yes. So it is a bit ambiguous even to this day. A lot more of it is just kind of in the sense of, all right, if you are submerged underwater as a devil fruit user, then you just cannot move at all. Somebody else has to like fish you out of the water, basically. Uh in some cases, like they are able to just like splash around and cry for help before they submit to just the underwater depths of the ocean that are unforgiving. And admittedly, it's kind of a good like drawback to eating a devil fruit since pretty much everyone in this world wants to be a pirate or a marine, and considering you're always around water, that's kind of a huge detriment. So it
And
keeps it from being overpowered.
that was part of it, like when because Luffy falls in like two or three times pretty early on,
Mm-hmm.
and he can't just like he doesn't just like, okay, I'm gonna gum my way to like the shore.
Mm-hmm.
It is like a paralysis. Like, nope, you're gonna go into coma, and you are going
Yep.
to drown.
Mm-hmm. It.
Um,
I will say, get used to that because I'm pretty sure 99% of the time when a devil fruit user falls into the water, they are unable to use their powers.
but that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like genuinely, the rules. I know you haven't started watching Hunter x Hunter, and I know you said you want to start with the '96 version,
Yep.
um, because you like that art style.
Mm-hmm.
That, like I said, that's the only other anime where I've seen it where like, no, there is a genuine drawback, um, and it's not just a numbers thing. It's not just you have big numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask this now because I was excited when Fairy Tale started and I started watching that. I was excited when I started watching Seven Deadly Sins.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Dragon Ball is still amazing. Dragon Ball Z is good. It has some
Mm-hmm.
drawbacks, but do I ever get a power level number in One Piece?
So, no. And if people tell you that there are, they are kind of just wrong. So, the closest thing that we have to like a power level kind of thing is the bounty system, where your destructive power is basically tied to what your bounty is to the world government, at least. So basically, how strong you are perceived is what your quote unquote power level is. So if you don't really cause that much damage, then your bounty is very low. But if you can like level an entire island, then your bounty is going to be like in the billions. But that's like the closest thing they get to uh, number go up, basically.
But
And
with that
it's
being
not
said, like you
indicative
could,
because there are some technicalities that you'll get into later, and certain bounties that are honestly a joke.
but like that being said, it's like I could go out and just attack marine bases and probably have a
Mhm.
higher bounty because I just destroyed marine bases.
Right.
Okay.
So it's more tied to like what you've done. So like if I just bomb a marine base, then my bounty is going to be like a billion berries. But if I'm like I just kill this one random stranger, then it's like 50,000 berries, and berries obviously being the currency. If any One Piece curious people are listening in.
The and everyone, I'm going to tell you, like skeptical. I'm coming in off of very like I'm watching early One Piece. There are some animations in this show that are uh, I'm going to say painful.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fight with Bugsy where Bugsy's in the background, Luffy's like turning around to talk to Nami in the foreground,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like going to attack. And in one frame, his hand is empty, and the next frame there are just claws. And I had to go back and like watch it because there are no frames of animation there. It is just no claws, claws. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, some early shots of One Piece are kind of rough. Um, I will say I do kind of like the art style of like early One Piece of like the first three sagas. There is a bit of a mix up after that, and it does kind of lose a little bit of that charm, but I still think it looks good. Um, but yeah, some early fights are kind of rough to look at a little bit, but I mean, it's not bad enough that I would say it's a deal breaker.
oh, definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and since we're talking about fights, um, I think let's go to the first devil fruit fight because
Mm-hmm.
this I think is just when Luffy and Bugsy are fighting.
Yes.
Luffy has rubber, Bugsy has chop chop. Chop chop is
Mm-hmm.
he can break his body up into many different pieces,
Yep.
and that it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's a point though where Bugsy like goes to attack Nami, and Luffy grabs his hand and twists it up as if he's going to do like a hand lock.
Mm-hmm.
And you watch Bugsy's arm because it's just about halfway up the forearm is where like is kind of missing, like that's what he took off of him, and
Yes.
he's holding it as if somebody was holding his hand in a hand lock.
Yes.
That attention to detail to me of yes, he threw his body, but it still has to play by the rules anatomically. Like I don't think he can like I never once saw him where he like flipped over his hand and he was like holding them backward. Like it still felt like no, if you're gonna throw your hand, you can't like cross your hands and have like full mobility. It's still like your
Yes.
arm grew, it's just invisible, nothing's there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are definitely like rules to each devil fruit, and one thing that I freaking love about the devil fruits is that everybody has to learn their power. It's not just something really that's just innate that you can just kind of do immediately and not have to put much thought into. That is something that I love about devil fruits so much. It's such a fun idea. And the fact that it's predetermined, so you can't really just pick your own power, is restricting enough, but also gives a lot of like creativity, I think, narratively. Because I had a friend who was kind of bummed out that the devil fruit user doesn't get to pick their power, but I really like the fact that they don't get to pick their power. and that some devil fruit powers are just straight up useless, like seemingly the gum gum fruit.
So, all right, this is going to bring up my next question. Um, in Hunter x Hunter, you
Hmm.
have powers based off of like it's like 5 points. You have like enhancer, which is like you can physically channel your mana, your nen into your
Hmm.
body and make it stronger. Um,
Yes.
you have conjurer, which means you can bring up other things, and like it goes all the way around to the
Hmm.
point like where like transmutation is one of them. It's really cool,
Yes.
and you're predisposed to that. And you kind of can see how characters have it by how they act and their mannerisms. It's
Hmm.
very much built in like the fiber of who you are.
Yes.
Luffy being flexible as he is, um, almost to the point of sometimes being like completely unyielding and not
Hmm.
flexible. I'm like, oh, that'd be pretty rubbery. Like you can push him really far, but you're not going to break that.
Yes.
The devil fruit. Are there multiples? So can I go find a gum gum tree?
No. This is something that gets explained later on. I don't really consider it a spoiler, but some other rules of devil fruits is one, there is only one devil fruit of each kind. So, in order for you to get the gum gum fruit, Luffy first has to die. Uh, that once Luffy dies, then a random fruit in the world becomes the gum gum fruit, and then if you eat that fruit, then you get the gum gum powers. Second rule is that only one devil fruit per person. If you eat a second devil fruit after eating one, then you just straight up die from heart failure.
Aw.
Uh, yeah, so you can't just have like a devil fruit salad, basically, and just
I was
get
thinking
like
like the
every power in the
I
world.
was thinking the last one you would get, it would be like, okay, hey, you lost Gum Gum, but now you have Chop Chop.
Right. But that's also not the case. So the characters who have like their ability, like Buggy keeps the Chop Chop fruit throughout his life, so does Luffy with the Gum Gum fruit.
And you said before, you said like apples, berries. So, and you just said now a random like so I could walk outside tomorrow and be like, oh, here's a pear in my pear tree or crab apple in my crab apple tree, and
Yes.
that crab apple could just become a devil fruit.
Yes, it can. Like if somebody in this world dies that has like any kind of devil fruit power, then there is a small chance that that apple that you picked is like next in line to being a devil fruit, and that eating it means that you get a power. And I hope you don't like beaches that much.
Says the kid who grew up like, or actually, I grew up like on a beach, so beaches are
Hmm.
great.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so okay,
Hmm.
it feels like there are other magics in this world.
Other magics in One Piece.
Yes,
Okay.
because like Zoro, I know he gets black curse blades,
Hmm.
and Hawks Dracula Alucard, I
Hmm.
don't know what he wants to go by. He shows up and he does some stuff,
Right.
but I don't think he's a devil fruit user.
You don't think he's a devil fruit user. Okay. That's
Correct.
a prediction. That's a prediction. So maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong. I'm not going to give you an answer because you
No,
gotta
that's
like,
that's I have to get there.
yes.
Um, because God, I have so many
It
mm,
That's the thing about early One Piece is that it like turns the gears in your brain of just like, all right, what's gonna go on? And then like you later learn that Oda likes to make small details play a big role later on. So then you're just like, oh god, did this one throwaway line really be throwaway? Or is this like gonna like come back in like a huge way 200 episodes later?
because like Bugsy's like when Bugsy gets his, and there are fake devil fruits.
Yes.
How does that work? Does that get explained at all?
Um, kind of. I'm just gonna leave it at kind of with
Okay.
the fake devil fruits.
It's like the Spartan 4s where it's like you're not really a Spartan in Halo, but we're gonna give you the name Spartan, I guess. Oh god. I have so many questions now.
Yeah,
Um
it's just Ichiro to like manually turning the gears that are in your brain, just making you think about stuff like before they're like even relevant. And it's why some people feel like they just kind of have to have like a notebook whenever they're reading or watching One Piece. Just be like, all right, not gonna let that one slide.
okay, so let's go real quick. If you have time, let's go to the
I
Bartio
have
arc real quick.
yes,
You have
yes,
time?
yes, yes. I have time. I have plenty of time,
Okay. Sweet.
especially
We're
when
gonna
it's
talk about
about One Piece, one of my favorite shonen.
congratulations, guys. We're gonna get to it's been a little bit of a rambly episode to figure out this anime, but we're gonna go places. Now hear me out on this. So
Okay.
we're gonna talk power level.
Oh.
We're we're gonna talk powers,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to I'm gonna see what I can kind of piece together real quick.
Okay.
So the Barty Archives is where Sanji gets introduced. Um,
Mm-hmm.
a crew a pirate shows up at the restaurant that Sanji's working at and is like,
Yes.
"Hey, I'm hungry."
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Oh yeah,
Zeph,
Gin.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
Zeph shows up and goes, or Sanji is like, "Okay, I'm going to feed you," and all the battle cooks, because all the cooks there are like pirates or ex-marine or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they all uh they're all like, nope, get out of here, you don't have money, you can't do this. And Sanji's like, nope, someone shows up hungry, someone shows up like on death's door, I'm going to feed them.
Right.
And he does. He brings back his captain, and his captain gets fed. uh
Mm-hmm.
and the captain um and the captain then says, nope, I just tried to sail the Grand Line with like 10,000 ships, and they all died.
Yes.
Everyone died except for this one ship. So we're going to
Mm-hmm.
take over this ship. We're going to build a fleet. We're going to go back to the Grand Line.
Mm-hmm.
He had a sizable bounty. His
Mm-hmm.
uh
Yeah. Don Krieg, I think you're thinking of.
yes, Don Krieg. Let me see, bounty. He was 17 million.
Yes.
Uh and but he obviously doesn't have a devil fruit. Um
Mm-hmm.
and Luffy makes the thing watching him and says, "Well, you were only strong because you just had numbers. Like you haven't told me anything about strength. You just have a lot of people. Now that you don't, are you really that strong?"
Right.
So it's just me trying to put it together. Does that mean somebody? This means somebody without powers. Because even let's talk about Zeph. Zeph
Mm-hmm.
was also previously a pirate,
Yes.
and he actually made it through the Grand Line. I don't even know what the Grand Line is yet.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is I'm thinking it's like a super version of the Prime Meridian, or the Prime Meridian and the International Dateline, and you cross that, and in the Navy, when you actually cross that, you get like they do an entire like almost like pseudo hazing day, and you get a very special name about you because you crossed both at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, or the equator, and I'm sorry, the equator and the International Dateline or Prime Meridian, whatever it is.
Right.
But he did it with no powers and was over there for a year.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still be formidable with no
Yes.
devil fruit.
You can.
And there's nothing stopping someone from like being, let's say, like a devil fruit user from losing to someone with a non-devil fruit power, even
Right.
if even if I'm sorry, even if they like even if it's like something like I know I think his name is Ace because I listen to a lot of Rustage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it does like a huge like entire rap about Ace, and Ace can do fire.
Yes.
But so like somebody like nobody from nowhere could theoretically throw hands with Ace and still beat him, and it could be like a Sanji level character.
That is correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, full disclosure, uh, out of our main crew of Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, and Sanji, Luffy is the only one with a Devil Fruit ability.
Um. So that brings me to a question
Mm-hmm.
because I know a dead guy joins the crew.
Oh, how can a dead guy join a crew? He can't consent.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he goes, "Hey, I'm lonely and I kind of want to hang out with you guys. You guys seem cool. I can't die."
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about. His name is Brooke. First of all,
Yes,
mm-hmm.
I haven't gotten there yet. So that's why I said I know a dead guy joins the crew.
Right. So you're talking about the skeleton man, basically.
Yes,
Okay. Yeah. His name's Brooke, and I guess spoilers, he does join the crew, but that's kind of immediately obvious when you look at him when he's introduced.
because he's or okay. So I guess the easy question would be like, so I know fish people exist,
Yes.
but fish people are different than mer people. Are there mer
Hmm.
people?
I will also say yes.
Are there skeleton people? Are skeleton people just a race?
Um, no.
Okay.
So Brooke is just a special case. We'll get there when we get there, basically.
Okay. I'm just I so
I don't want
the
to say
world
what it
building,
is because it's a really good explanation, and by really good, I mean you're gonna fucking cry.
but the like all of the characters, because even the first Marine, um,
Mhm.
so we're gonna go back.
Captain Morgan,
Eustace, his name was Captain Morgan, wasn't it?
it was.
Huh. Huh.
Yeah.
Because we meet Eustace.
Mhm.
Oh no, that's somebody else. Who's the kid that we meet early on?
Kobe.
Kobe.
Hmm. I love
Um,
Kobe.
I cannot wait for Kobe to Kobe better come back.
Wink.
Uh, I figured he does. But we got to meet Hand Morgan. So it looks like even can Marines get Devil Fruit?
Yes, Marines can get devil fruits. There's no like law stating that uh, you're not allowed to have a devil fruit power, basically. So anybody can get a devil fruit power. Just one though. Just one reminder.
Okay.
Um, it's just one devil fruit power that you can get, and typically, I think like in the Marines, you do have to like disclose whether or not you have a devil fruit power when you get it.
And that's actually something that's really odd to me because it's the Navy, but everything has Marine on it.
Yeah, that's something that's kind of iffy depending on how you're consuming it. I know for both the 4 Kids version and the manga, I'm pretty sure they're still called the Navy, but for the sub version and the Funimation dub, it's just the Marines, basically. So it's just kind of a bit of a gray area. I just call them the Marines, and I occasionally slip into calling them the Navy, but you kind of know what you're getting into with them. They're just like kind of a militaristic force for the world government.
Mariners, like Marine now
Mhm.
makes like they're just Mariners, so that makes calling them Marines for short makes complete is complete sense there to me.
Yep.
Um, oh my god. Sorry, I was making sure that I pulled up like Kobe stuff. But even like the first episode with Hand Morgan,
Hmm.
they it still establishes that like there's body modifications in this world,
There are.
um, and people are still like a person can just be strong and get strong.
They can.
Because I know I've seen some like crazy things of like Zoro's training, like just like holding a rock, a boulder in his mouth. Uh,
Hmm. I love Zora's training montages so much.
I've seen him swinging like half of a barbell with like fifty
Another
thousand tons
barbell
on
in
the
his mouth.
yeah. Like it's I'm just like no, what are we doing? Um,
That's from one of the openings that you'll get into way, way, way later. But it's funny. I love him. A lot of this series is going to be you mentioning character and me going, "Oh yeah, I love that guy." Get used to
um,
that.
Now, okay, so I know what we can kind of begin wrapping up on here for this
Mm,
this meandering like One Piece. For those of you guys who are like, hey, this feels a little jumbled. One Piece is very good at jumbling everything,
mm-hmm,
but it never does not make sense.
mm-hmm. Right.
Um,
And this will probably be like a lot more focused later down the line when you're only looking at like one or two arcs instead of right now we're jumbling Romance Dawn, Syrup Village, Orangetown, Baratier, and kinda Arlong Park.
yeah, I feel like Arlong Park. I'm going to be like, hey, we need to do an emergency recording session
Yeah.
because I need therapy after that. Uh,
Oh, you need therapy after just that. Just you goddamn wait.
the one part that I can't figure out though, Luffy has like no muscle definition in the beginning of the series,
Yes.
but he's still incredibly strong, and I'm
Mhm.
trying to figure out how that actually translates. Do they ever explain his strength? Because like obviously going to be elastic,
Mhm.
to be a rubber person. However, when the first episode happens, and he eats the rubber and he gets picked up by the pirate upside down, or
Mhm.
the one of the marines, or just I think it's actually just a bandit, the one of the wolf bandits.
Yes.
His head just falls and like hits the floor,
Yes, it does.
and he stretches his mouth and goes, "I'm a rubber, I'm a rubber person."
Yeah.
Do they
It's
explain later that he's like he has to hold himself together?
I don't really think they explain it. I think it's supposed to be more, and I know I've said Looney Tunes a lot, but it is kind of like that Looney Tunes logic of it works when like the situation calls for it to work like that, basically. So like yeah, Luffy's just kind of like a rubbery rubber hose man who can just stretch his limbs a bunch, but his punches still like pack a punch just because like he just has that kind of power even though visually his arms are just noodles basically.
Are
So
his fists getting bigger when he does some of the gum punches?
um sometimes yes.
Okay.
Hmm. And then
Does it add mass then?
yeah,
Okay. I'm
we're
trying to
gonna
figure out
get
how
into
like
like
that
the
works.
science of One Piece.
Well, I'll let you guys know a little inside joke. I messaged you. Oh God. Probably I'm actually. So for those of you guys who aren't in here, we do have a Discord server for the wrong button. I'll have a link to it down here, um,
Oh,
as
please tell me
well.
you're gonna tell me what you think it is, what I think it
Uh,
is.
I sit here and I'm like, hey, I have a question for you, and it's about the powers. And your first thing was, if it's can it work on their penises? The answer is yes.
I knew you were gonna bring that up. And here's the thing, we got that confirmation from Ichiro Oda himself that yes, devil fruits work on the penis and basically every other kind of genitals. Um, just sort of in a Q&A section that's kind of just exclusive to the manga, which is why I really like reading the manga volumes. um, and he just answers so many different questions about One Piece in these different segments, and they're just always charming answers, but occasionally you do get the ridiculous. So, does this power work on the penis? And I think like at one point Ichiro Oda just said, "Yes, all devil fruit powers work on genitals. Stop asking me these questions."
Have you ever seen? There's an old movie called Mallrats, like early Kevin Smith.
I don't think I have.
It's a good movie. Like if you ever have some fresh vegetables that you need to smoke. Um, but the one of the main characters there runs into Stan Lee and constantly asks him, "Hey, so the thing from Fantastic Four or Mister Fantastic, are their penises the same?" And that's like his bit, the entire thing. So that's what I thought that you went to. Um, but
No.
I was questioning like with their powers. Um, because you actually have it like hidden. I didn't go up and find it in the anime, the anime something to be like, no. Um,
Because you would be surprised how many people ask that question.
is that like the number one pinned thing in the subreddit for One Piece?
I don't think it is, no.
Because
But like people have asked that before just like watching One Piece like while drunk or whatever.
it's one of those questions. I'm like the fact that you came to me like so readily. I was like, hey, I have questions and jokes. Um, and so I had that question for you and that joke. Oh, my other question was, did you watch the Four Kids version? Correct.
I watched it when I was a kid, and I follow the Four Kids One Piece Out of Context account on Twitter.
Okay. Do they? So we're gonna go to some naming conventions here.
Okay.
One, yelling gum gum before anything is kind of fun. I
Yes.
hope I'm like, oh, you ate the gum gum fruit, you have gum gum powers, go with it.
Yes.
Uh, Zoro using like the tiger trap,
Mm-hmm.
really cool.
Yes.
Uh, let's talk about Usopp's arc real quick and his villain,
Oh, Captain
the
Kuro.
and the Black Cat Pirates.
Uh huh.
I think is what they come with.
Yes.
What are what are um his how do they name him how do they name his attacks uh in
In the Four Kids one,
yeah,
I actually don't remember. Hang on. Captain Kuro. I'm not a robot. Okay, Google. You never have to ask me that ever again. It's Captain Kuro. I don't think like any of the Black Cat pirates had their name changed in the Four Kids stuff. I think like the bulk of them were just like Zoro to Zorlo, and then a couple people in the next saga that we'll get to eventually.
because
Uh,
this is the Syrup Village arc.
yes.
um and to answer you guys a question, or like there's a pirates show up. Usopp constantly runs around and goes, pirates are coming, and the
Hmm.
town like the
The
town's
boy
annoyed
who
with
cried
him.
wolf, basically.
Yeah, and town like it's a great arc. It's a great thing. But the villains of this arc were actually cool. They were like they were cat themed.
Hmm.
Um, and uh, Captain Kurto, who's like the butler, like fights with some cat Freddy Krueger like blade claws.
Hmm.
And like when you see him like adjust his like glasses, and the new Captain Django's like he remembers how to fight. He is still that cold-blooded killer that he used to be. And
Hmm.
we get to see everything is cat themed.
Yep.
However, Captain Kurto has a fantastic technique that allows him to like flash step, and it is
Hmm.
called the pussyfoot technique.
Yes, he definitely does.
What is the naming convention for that? Like that couldn't get on TV, could it?
Uh, I don't know. Maybe they called it like the pussycat step or something. I don't know. I'm looking at like the wiki right now and not seeing anything. God. But
Yeah,
yeah.
that's my question right now is uh One Piece English dub. Like I want to know uh what his, because he sits there and he goes, they're like, oh no, you can't dodge his, because I think it's literally like pussy claw strike when he
Hmm.
uses his pussy foot technique, and I'm
Yeah.
sitting here watching this going like, wait, this this aired for children.
I mean, to be fair, Four Kids like had to change a lot of stuff about everything that you see to the point where, again, I would say it was butchered like just completely, and they had to have had like the foresight of like, there's a lot of stuff here we can't show to these kids because like Shanks loses his arm in episode 4, like, and you can't really edit around that because it's a major part of One Piece, and ah, we could be here all day about Four Kids One Piece. Oh, it was called the Stealth Walk in the Four Kids dub.
Okay, I'm not
Boring.
upset with that name. I am not upset
This is
with
like when
that one.
you this is like when you find out like a JoJo stan name is just something really weird. Like, I'm, again, like, just to bring up JoJo, I'm in the middle of part 5 right now. One of the stan names is Sticky Fingers. In To avoid copyright, they changed the name to Zipper Man, and it's like, oh my god, you guys.
Wait,
This
how
is
is
what that
Sticky Fingers?
I think it's named after an album. I forget like who owns that album
Oh,
though,
but like
because all
it has Queen Bee, like it's literally like, what is it? Queen's Killer Queen.
Killer Queen.
Yeah, Killer Queen, Queen Bee. It's from almost all of those things are based off of album things. So that's why I'm like Sticky Fingers
Hmm. But
is
yeah,
still
Killer
like,
Queen gets changed too.
huh.
Yeah, Deadly Queen, which is way less menacing. That being said, Heart Attack and Bites the Dust still get to stay in, so
The But like, yeah, because that was my question for you. Like, how the naming convention? How is that like?
Mhm.
How is
So
that going forward?
the naming convention going forward, at least for the Devil Fruits in the sub and the manga and whatnot, they still go through that same naming convention of like Gum Gum Fruit,
Hmm.
Chop Chop Fruit. Later on, you'll see like the Flame Fruit, and in Japanese, it's Word no Mi, basically. So Gomu Gomu no Mi for the Gum Gum Fruit. Uh, and some fans online will say something like Gomu Gomu no Mi or what have you in place of that devil fruit. Uh, and then everybody does have like their own kind of naming convention for their own attacks. Sanji's obviously is named after food. Uh, Usopp's is named after whatever he's shooting at people. Zoro's is just like different styles, and I do believe they're all names of different like attacks in Japanese, which I'm pretty sure Four Kids kept for their dub. And I will say, going forward, Japanese sub and Funimation dub, they use the same exact naming conventions for like, I'm pretty sure all but one attack. I think.
Yeah, because I was sitting here trying to figure out how like the gum gum fruit would be. Because I'm actually looking at a
Mhm.
translator right here. Um,
Hmm. So
Now,
with the Gum Gum Fruit in the Four Kids dub, it was just the name changes. So it was, instead of like Gum Gum instead of like Gum Gum Shotgun, it was Gum Gum Double Barrel. Instead of Gum Gum Gatling, it was Gum Gum Rapid Fire. Just to like remove the gun references because we can't have guns in One Piece.
yeah, because it's a gum gum pistola that they have.
Hmm.
Um, Now for, so even if I were to say like, hey, let's take a look at going back to the gum gum fruit.
Hmm.
Uh, I know you said that they supposedly taste terrible.
Yes,
Um,
they all
the only the Bugsy accidentally swallows it,
do.
and Luffy like scarfs it down because he's upset.
Yeah, that's Luffy loves his food, and you will see that a lot.
I just watched him fight with one of Zoro's underlings previously about like eating scallops, like throwing it into his mouth, like reaching across the table for it, which is I
Hmm.
feel like that's just super shonen. Then you have to kind of go for it.
Yep.
Um, do the fruits take on like properties? So if I eat the flame fruit, is the
Hmm.
fruit like either really spicy or really hot? Is the gum fruit like if I eat it, it's like eating
Rubbery.
one of the I rubbery, but like have you ever seen like the supersized gummy bears that are disgusting?
Oh yeah. Uh,
And
I don't think gum fruits like taste like spicy if you eat the flame fruit, or really cold if you eat ice fruit or something. I think it's just like one uniform flavor that's just kind of.
well,
So
um,
sorry to give you that boring answer.
can you cook the gum fruit? Can you cook the fruits?
You can cook the fruits, but
Do they taste better?
I don't think we've ever gotten an answer to that.
Everyone wants to know about the penis. I want to know about the fruit. So Quiggles, where can we find you? What are you gonna be up to?
I know I've mentioned JoJo quite a bit, but I do quite a bit. I haven't really made an article in a while, but I plan on actually doing a huge, very long boy article that is just a review and ranking of every JoJo part. So, and I mean like everyone. I'm going through part 5 right now, and then after that, I'm doing the manga for part 6, 7, and 8. So I don't know when that's going to be, but that's like what I'm in the midst of right now. I haven't had an article in a while just because a lot of life stuff kind of got in the way. So sorry, anybody who is looking forward to an article from me for the past year.
Your articles are always very well written and insightful,
Oh,
so I do
thank you.
appreciate that. And then, of course, we can find you on Gaming News R.
Hmm.
Um, I will make sure, of course, to have links to both where you post articles. I just lost the name of that site,
Yep.
um, as well as your Discord here. So if any of you want to know anything about anime, very friendly community to jump in on.
Hmm.
Um, to let you all know, this will probably be I told you like it might be quarterly, like every 2 3 months. Uh,
Right.
we'll check in. It might be a bonus
Hmm.
podcast. It might be the actual podcast, as you can see here. It's a little
Yeah.
bit longer,
Hmm.
but you can find this us of course here
Hmm.
on at the wrong button on
Hmm.
YouTube, Twitter, Instagram,
Yes.
as well as on your podcast platform of choice.
Hmm.
Uh, Quiggles,
But
thank you so much for joining me for
thank
this.
you. But
I
before we go, I do have like
okay.
a couple more questions though, if you
Oh,
have
sweet. We'll
time.
rapid fire this. Yeah, I got plenty of time.
Okay. So, question number 1: what devil fruit power do you want to see in the future?
Um. Ooh. Uh.
Just if you could make up any power right
If I could
now.
make any power right now, um, I want to see like that's so weird. 'Cause, like I feel like here I'm burdened so much by like Western superpowers
Hmm.
that I almost want to see something that feels uh because like I feel like Shadow's been done, Hardening's been done, and those are
Hmm.
powers that I just really like. Um,
Okay.
I would almost want to see like a really a breathing like almost like as you breathe you can like suck oxygen out of an area or like if
Okay.
you exhale you can like I know Luffy can like expand and like blow
Hmm.
really hard but I want to see like no I can control air like I can go and inhale and like
Hmm.
start sucking the air out of you like if I
Hmm.
wanted to, or like force you to take so much in and pop. I would love to see that or someone who could control like the viscosity of things.
Hmm.
So like you grab someone's sword and you literally turn it to like this like jello-y mush because you just make it, or you
Ooh.
take like air and make it super rigid because you're
Okay.
controlling like the actual uh, feel of it. That'd be
Okay.
something kind of
All
cool.
right. And then question two: what kind of location do you want to see the Straw Hats go in the future?
Ooh,
Like any kind of environment or inspired by any country or what have you, or
ooh,
any fictional world.
I I would like Sanji to go to like an area of like France. Um
Mm,
just because I find personally like French cooking to me is while very technically adept,
hmm.
boring because it's a lot of like butter and stuff.
Right.
Whereas I'm expecting him to like, nope, I need to make this thing that's not really appetizing, but we have a ton of it.
Hmm.
Taste more, like be more flavorful and really bring out that because I'm assuming he's going to have like a lot of curries and like Asian influence. So I'd like to see him
Okay.
experience an area that's not easily from draw on.
Right. And then last but not least, what do you think the One Piece is?
Ooh, so you kind of spoiled me on this one, and you told me that it's not the friends you made along the way.
Right. It's an actual physical thing, but what do you think that physical thing is?
To be everything in, I'm gonna bet it's gonna be a grail,
A grail. Okay.
like a goblet, like
Hmm.
like it literally can hold everything that like you would have like holding water so you can see everything that you would have ever wanted.
Oh.
Uh, and to be able to like have that because if it's all the treasures of the world has to offer,
Hmm.
excuse me, I'm thinking it would be immortality,
Hmm.
um or maybe I'm guessing it would be longevity would be the better answer where it's like nope, you can be youthful, you can be young, it only has like a finite amount of sips,
Okay.
but you could still be killed.
Oh, all right. Okay. Very interesting answers, I will say.
I've been thinking about that because that one's hard, that one's
I
very
can
very
tell.
hard.
Yeah, I don't even know the answer to that if I'm being honest.
You don't have like do you have do you have a power that like you would want to see that you haven't seen yet because I know you've seen a lot.
Uh in terms of a power that I would want to see, um honestly, we haven't really had like a mind ready power yet, and I think that would like probably be really cool. I don't know how you would put that in like an action scene, but I feel like it could probably be something creative that Oda could have a lot of fun with. And then I guess in terms of the One Piece, there's a lot of theories. I Part of me does kind of think it would be hilarious if it was just money, but it's obviously not going to just be money. But I don't know. I think it would just kind of be funny that we've spent all this time thinking about what it is and all of it, and it's just treasure in the most traditional sense, basically. And I'm probably wrong. I'll fully admit that, but I don't know.
Have Have you ever seen labyrinth, not labyrinth, um have you ever seen any of the Magi uh like
I've
Magi?
I've seen a couple episodes of Moggy, but not a whole lot.
So my next question, do Jin exist in One Piece?
Jin?
Yeah, genie in a bottle
Um, no.
that we know of.
I mean,
I
we have yet to see a genie in One Piece. I will admit
Crunchyroll
that.
just showed me Luffy punching a dragon, so um
Oh, that's the current arc, and
if
you are not ready to see Luffy punch a dragon yet, but it is gonna be so good when you do.
it is, that was what Crunchyroll showed me earlier. Um but yeah, so I'm gonna take that back. If it's not a grail that like extends your life, but not like you're not immortal, but you have like longevity and
Mhm.
usefulness, um, then I almost want to bet, hey, it's a gin. It is like one magic lamp, and maybe it doesn't have monkey paw rules. Maybe it does.
Okay, very interesting. We'll see. We'll just have to see when One Piece ends in like 8 years. If
You said that
you're
right. It's like 5 years or 7 years.
so, that's a joke that I constantly tell people. Uh, uh, there's an annual event in Japan, Jump Festa, and every year there's like a One Piece event where Oda like gives a note that just teases you of like what's in the future for the manga. And in I think 2018 or 2019, he said that he plans on ending One Piece in 5 years. So you're like, oh, One Piece is ending in 5 years. All right, I can kind of see that. And then the year in Jump Festa after that, um, he made another note. So you would think that he would say that One Piece is ending in 4 years, or that he's not just going to mention One Piece ending at all. But he mentions again that One Piece is ending in 5 years. 2 years in a row.
So that means
So
it's
so that means we're either in a time loop or it'll just end when Oda's ready for it to end. Because we still got a lot of stuff to do in the manga, even um, that I don't think we'll get to do in just 5 years. Maybe like 7 or so. 6, probably. More likely. So, odds are you'll be catching up just before One Piece ends in the manga.
okay. Next time on Wrong Button's going to tackle more of One Piece because this one's more about the early parts. I think next time we'll
Mhm,
tackle more of the crew. We'll go
yep.
through the Arlong arc and whatever other arcs I've gone through, and we'll try to make it a little bit more streamlined. I talked about doing kind of a long play of like a Muso game or
Mhm,
One Piece Odyssey. Uh,
mhm.
that might happen. I might drag Quiggles into that. But
I'd be down.
thank you so much for going through this.
Thank you so much
And
for having me and for sharing your One Piece experiences. Trust
I
me, a lot of us One Piece fans like hearing newcomers' experiences and then laughing at them saying stuff that ages poorly.
I'm very excited, and I look forward to probably messaging you again in 20 minutes that I'm crying on the bathroom floor.
uh, the first time of many.
Oh, I'm gonna go buy some ice cream.
You might wanna.
Everyone else, thank you very much for listening, and have a fantastic rest of your day.